Hello and welcome to Our Family, which we are delighted to bring you in association with students from Buxton University.
Our Family is where we look at stories around the club that show how the Watford family spreads far and wide away from the pitch.
This month, we will be joined here in the studio by former Hornets midfielder Payne and Watford ladies captain Helen Ward.
And also we'll take a look back at the recent Trust celebration event that took place at Vicarage Road.
And we'll meet Academy Analyst Dan Bedeau, who tells us how epilepsy has not stopped him becoming a key member of backroom staff. Well, we are very pleased to be welcoming back Payne and Helen Ward to the Our Family studio. Nice to see you both.
Hello.
Hello.
Derek, start with you. Loads to talk about, but first things first, what do you put down to, or what do you put the recent upturn in results and performances down to?
Yeah, well, there's loads of reasons, obviously. Can't be just one thing, but we have to mention Nigel Pearson and Craig Shakespeare. I think their experience coming into the club, they've been in this position before where Watford were like in the bottom three. They've been in that sort of situation before, so they can draw on that experience. And they've obviously somehow managed to turn it around in a really quick time. That's the surprising thing from anyone who's been in professional football. You know, we knew there'd be a new manager bounce. That goes maybe 2 or 3 games, but they seem to be able to keep it going. So they deserve a lot of credit. I think also you've got to look at the players because they will have to respond to the orders they're getting from Nigel Pearson and Craig Shakespeare. And all in all, it looks like we're now more of a team rather than individuals. So somehow on the training ground and in matches, they've managed to make it make us a really hard team to beat and make us a good team. And they've turned us from a team that was conceding goals, not scoring goals, to they flipped it around. So whatever they're doing, it's working. But I think they've just, in my language, I would call, they've gone back to old school values, which means getting in the team, earning your shirt, and keeping that shirt. So giving them like incentives.
Derek touched on it there, the sheer timescale in which this has all been achieved. How do you think Nigel and Craig Shakespeare have managed to have this impact in such a short space of time?
Yeah, I think they've come in and they've worked hard. I mean, we train in the evenings, and I think in the first week that they'd come in, we turned up to training 8 o'clock at night, and Nigel Pearson's still there. He had a chat with our staff. So, you know, he's putting in the hours, not just on the training pitch. He's obviously working hard, getting to know his players, whether that's watching footage or what have you. But I think the period of games that they came in just before, you know, you have all those fixtures over Christmas and New Year, that's probably played into his hands in a way because they got that key result, a good performance against Liverpool, I have to say. Going into then the Manchester United game at home, getting a really positive performance, and of course that first home win, which was sort of the catalyst to then the run that once you've won that game, you want to play another game, you want to play another game. You don't really need to train in between. You just want to play games and keep that momentum. Had that game not gone so well, you could have been in a bit of trouble because how do you stop a rut when you've got a game every 3 or 4 days? So that was sort of probably the little bit of luck that they needed. But I think, as I said, they're putting in the work. They're getting to know the players. They're bringing out the best in them. They've recognised their attributes, played to those strengths, and like Derek said, they're earning their place in the team. And now there's competition. You know, Kabasele comes back from suspension. Normally he'd be straight in, but you know, Craig Dawson and Craig Cathcart have played well the game before, so you can't just chop and change unnecessarily. So it's like Derek said, they're earning their place and they're doing it very well at the moment.
When you come into a new club, Derek, and you know, it's your experience as a player, you know, when a new manager comes in, you know, just how tough is it to sort of change the dynamic of that dressing room and to get everybody pulling in the same direction and getting that team ethic? And you know, every Premier League dressing room, every dressing room now is so diverse up and down the country. What makes one player tick, something else will make another player tick. Just how, in your experience, have you seen managers go about doing that?
Yeah, I think every manager has his own style. So some players, you respond to managers in different ways. So they've got to know how to do it on an individual level and also on a collective level. So individually getting to know them, like I think Helen said there, you know, they're going to try and get to know the players by watching videos and just talking to them, getting on a personal level. And then it's about who they know they can have a go at, who they know they can put an arm around. So that's very important that they get that man management skills. And obviously with their experience, they've got them skills. So that's part of the way you can make it better. But also, I feel what I'm kind of hearing or seeing is they simplified everything. They've made it a lot more simple, because I think sometimes coaches can over-coach and make it complicated. Football's quite a simple game, and they put the players in their positions that they like to play. Will Hughes was pushed back into a more central role. Since he's been at Watford, he's played out on the right. He's more of a central player. Sarr out on the right wing more, where, you know, they've tried to play him central before. So I think he's just simplified everything. And that's what you do when you're losing games. You've got to make sure you don't concede goals first and foremost, and get hard to beat. And I think that's what they've done, and that's the platform they've used. And then once you're not letting in goals, you're either going to get a draw or you're going to get a win. It sounds simple, but that's the message that would be coming across.
I think that's it, because from the outside looking in, some people might just assume they're performing miracles. But Derek, I think you've nailed it there in saying, really, they've just stripped it back, haven't they? Gone back to basics. You've mentioned earlier that Nigel Pearson just has really old school values. What kind of values do you look for in a manager, Helen? And do you see any of those in Nigel?
Yeah, the sort of thing I'd like as a player is a manager that trusts me and believes in me, and you know, that's what everybody wants to be loved. And I get the impression, obviously I don't know, I've not been in the environment, but I get the impression he's acknowledged everybody's strengths and he's made them believe in those strengths, and that's what they're playing to. Gerard Deulofeu is like a different player. Not only is he playing well with the ball, we all know the ability he's got, but you're seeing him track back and defend, and you know, he did that on Saturday. Didn't see a lot of the ball against a good Tottenham team, but he's working back and he's winning tackles and setting the team on the counter-attack in the other direction. He's playing 90 minutes more regularly than he ever has. Sarr on the other side, you heard him, I think it was a Bournemouth game, you could hear Nigel Pearson on the TV saying, go on Isma, go on, encouraging him all the time. And I think that's what you want. You want to know what you're good at, and you want to know that your manager sees that as well. And that seems to me the key to this whole upturn in fortune, that they've got Troy up front. He's big and strong. He can win headers. He can hold it up. He can bring the two flyers out wide into play. Maps is playing at right back. Arguably not his strongest position, but he's very good there, and he's doing exactly what he's good at. He's getting the ball. He's winning tackles. He's winning headers, and then he's giving it inside to Etienne Capoue or Nathaniel Chalobah, who can get it and spray it around, play make. Doucouré's playing higher up, getting in the box, scoring the goals that he was scoring a year or two ago. We weren't seeing that at the start of the season, but we know that's his energy to get up and down, and in that slightly higher role, he's able to do that a lot more. And I think exactly what Derek said, he's simplified it, he's put everybody in the positions that suit their game, and I think every player has appreciated that, and that's all coming together like brilliantly at the moment.
Plenty more football chat to come from our guests shortly, but now let's switch our attention to the work of the Watford FC Community Sports and Education Trust.
Yes, there was a celebration event held recently at Vicarage Road that took a look back and forward at what the Trust does best. You're here tonight, it says a lot, doesn't it, how much you care about the Community Trust and the work it does. So Adrian, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I benefited from the Trust, you know, as a kid myself. You know, the summer camps, you know, I used to go along, and obviously, like, you know, with my friends, etc., my brother and stuff, and I've seen, you know, coming through the youth system, what a big impact it has on the community. And you know, it was mentioned in that video, it's really what, you know, this club stands for, you know, being a massive, you know, support to the whole of Watford.
Adekite, it's the same for you, isn't it? You've been involved with the Trust for a number of years. I had a look on your social media before we came out tonight. You did one of those decade challenges, with it being 2020, and there's a picture of you tiny, swamped by this Watford shirt.
Bigger than I am now.
Yeah.
Very small.
But that's where it all began, wasn't it, with the Trust?
Yeah, literally, like, I think there was a programme called Safer Neighbourhoods at the time, and this was when, like, there was quite a lot of knife crime going on in my area, and it kind of just gave us a way to kind of be off the streets and be playing football, which was a positive impact for us. And obviously now I'm here, Watford Days player, and that's all thanks to the Trust. You know? So I've always known it as a community club, you know, since I've known of the Community Trust since I was maybe about 9, 10, and I'm 23 now. It's not changed a bit, so that's a credit to the club and to everyone, all the employees that work here.
And Daniel, we know you like to get involved with the trust events, do a bit in the community. What do you enjoy about it the most?
It's just great to be, around people that love football as much as we do, it's just it's good to have everyone involved in the club, and football's for everyone. So it's just great to get out there and enjoy the times that everyone's having with the trust and spend some time there.
Helen, you worked closely with the Trust over recent years and had seen it firsthand, the work that goes in. I know we've spoken many times, but just how much of an impact can you see it having out in the community?
It's huge for me. I think it's something that I'm always proud to be involved in a football club like Watford that does have its community at its heart. It might sound cheesy, but I really believe it's true. There's a sign at the stadium saying the original family club, and again, I believe that fully. I think since Graham Taylor's days, it has been the ultimate family club, and it does take an awful lot of pride in its community projects. Even when the football side of things on the pitch weren't going so well, you always had that connection with the supporters and the fan base, and I don't think you have that unless people really believe in what the club are doing for their whole community, not just what goes on the pitch. And I've been into schools, I've been to different projects and seen firsthand the impact it can have, and it always seems to be positive. There never seems to be people that think it's a waste of time or they're not getting anything from it, and I think that's down to everybody at the club putting their all into it, and the Community and Sports Education Trust, I think I got that right. Yes. They do amazing work, and as I said, I'm very proud to be part of the football club and the trust itself.
We saw there that Adrian Mariappa and Daniel Bachman also turned up to support the event from the first team squad. We mentioned Graham Taylor there. Derek, you were at the club under Graham Taylor back when he really endorsed that as one of his values, didn't he? The community and the importance of it, and the importance of the players getting involved. How well do you remember those times?
Yeah, no, it was always good. We enjoyed it. We went out at least once a month. 2 or 3 of the players would go out, and there'd be different events. So 5 or 6, 2 or 3. So most of the players would go out to a project, or a school, a community, or something, mental health, whatever it was, and you would go out, and it was good to just go there and just relax and be yourself and talk to supporters, to youngsters, whatever it was, and it gave you a lift as much as it gave the people there a lift, and you kind of buy into that. Watford, Graham Taylor being in the community, and the supporters and the players all being together. And I think, football's lost its way a little bit in that way with the money in the game, that players seem so far away from the supporters. So in our day, you'd go in there and we used to all enjoy it. It was good, and it was good for the community. And you knew it's keeping everyone together. And it's such a great club, family club, Watford. And I've played for a few football teams, but when you come to Watford, you feel like you're walking into a family, and that's the biggest compliment I can give the football club.
Well, it's great to see the work of the Trust still continuing, perhaps the legacy of Graham Taylor living on. Do you remember us trying our hand at indoor bowls one year, Derek? Not quite as easy as it looks, is it?
I think I was better than you, John, but it wasn't easy.
Have to have a rematch for us all to see.
See, still competitive.
My memory's obviously not quite as good as yours. Or your memory's not quite as good as mine, maybe. Back to matters on the pitch. We've touched upon it before that, VT, about players coming in and taking on different roles. Consistency in selection perhaps has been key since Nigel Pearson came in, albeit there have been some chances for other players, given some injuries that we've picked up. And they've really taken those chances, haven't they, Helen? That's perhaps really showing there's real competition for places now.
There is a huge competition for places. I think you look earlier in the season, if certain players were out injured, you thought, where are we going to go from here? Who do we bring in that can do as good or if not a better job? But now there's been, as you said, injuries and suspensions. Players have come in, and I think what they've now got is that belief that, okay, they might have got their opportunity through chance, perhaps, injuries or whatever, but they know that if they take that opportunity, then the shirt is theirs, and that's raised their game, that's lifted them up. I've been in a position myself where I've been on the bench and you get an opportunity, but you know that you're kind of just biding your time, and someone else is going to come back in when they're fit or available, and that's hard to do, because you know that no matter what you do, it's never enough. But that's not the case at Watford at the moment. Adam Messina's come in. Last 2 or 3 games, I think he's been right up there with the best performers for us. And you wouldn't have thought that would be the case. You know, we were so reliant on the likes of Jose Holebas. Kiko was doing a fantastic job there before his injury. And yet Messina's come in, and as I said, he's really owned that spot, and he's become one of the senior players on the team, and has really driven forward in that left-back position. Mariappa's come in, couldn't get on the bench at the start of the season, but now he's in the team every week, and I can't see a team without him in it at the moment. He's doing so well. He's just solid, he's dependable, and he's got that work ethic that he knows if he keeps it up, he's going to keep his place, you know. Fortunate for him that after his suspension, there was another suspension, but he's taken that chance once again, and Kabasele's now the one waiting. But again, if anything happens and he needs to come in, we know what a great job he can do. So that belief in each other, the belief from the manager, the belief of the players themselves, that's all pulling together, and everybody's competing healthily at the moment to get that place in the starting lineup.
We mentioned Maps and Messina there. Chalobah, another player that's really taken his opportunity. And it's quite exciting, actually, when you look at the players we've still got to come back. Tom Cleverley, Danny Welbeck, Kiko, you mentioned there. There's a few. Will Hughes, you haven't mentioned. Yeah, which I guess we're going to see another layer of the skills that Nigel Pearson then has, knowing when the right time is to integrate these players, or continuing to show faith in the ones that are performing week in, week out.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, they're good players coming back, and I think the message that's come out from the management, and players pick up on how managers work. You see how they kind of work, how they pick their teams, who they, you know, there's some managers have favourites, which doesn't seem to be the case here at Watford at the moment. So these players will know that they'll come back. They probably won't get in the starting lineup if we're winning games, but they'll be willing to be patient, because they know if the opportunity comes, then this head coach will leave them in the side if they get the opportunity and take that opportunity. So I think little subtle messages have been coming out. They don't even come out and say them, head coaches or managers. They won't say them, but you'll work it out for yourself that if I get in the team and I play well, then I will keep the shirt. Because the good thing he done early on was, once we won the Man United game, and even the Liverpool game, we lost at Liverpool, but he didn't change the team around much. So you will get your reward if you play and you stick to the orders you're given. You will get your reward. So the players coming back will add competition, but they'll be willing to be patient, because they know when they get their opportunity, but then they've got to go and perform at a high level as well. So all these little subtle messages is really working for Watford at the moment, and it's making competitive, players fight for their shirts, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing at the moment with the results.
They're going to seem, there's certainly a couple of them going to seem like new signings, aren't they? Probably in this, people talk about who's going to come in the January transfer window. The likes of Cleverley and Welbeck have been out a significant amount of time. They're going to feel like January signings. Let's hope they have perhaps as significant as a contribution as Ignacio Picetto did on his debut. We've been busy analysing performances, results. Time for us to perhaps meet a professional now.
Yes, Daniel Bedeau is an analyst working for the club's academy, but he has a special story to tell.
Yes, Dan suffers from epilepsy, but despite the statistics showing that 2/3 of sufferers are not in full-time employment, he, with the help of his employers, is proving those numbers wrong.
I was diagnosed with epilepsy at 7 years old, which was a hard thing because I didn't know much about epilepsy at the time, neither did my family. It was like, we've been told you can't ride a bike, you can't go swimming, you can't do this. I felt a bit trapped in a black box. As I got older, I kind of got used to it. I was a very keen footballer, playing a lot of sports, not just football, but football was one I was most interested in. The thing about football, I was playing and I got told when I was about 16 that I can't play football no more by my doctor because I was having too many seizures. I was having 6 or 7 seizures a day, and also having seizures on the pitch, which was a big hazard because it's a disrupt the game, it's a danger to myself. In 2009, I had brain surgery where they removed the area of my brain which was the main epicenter of my epilepsy, which is where I was having so many seizures frequently, 6 or 7 a day. And when I had that, since I had that operation, the frequencies has gone down drastically less, and I can live more or less a normal life now. I was in my final year at university. I was when you came to looking at career options and looking where you want to go. Analysis was a new job role that was coming about, and it suited me well because it's cross between sports science and coaching. So I'm watching games, which I love watching football, so analysing at the same time. And at the time, I sent my CV out to different clubs. Watford was the first one to get back to me, and I came here as a volunteer intern, was working with the Academy, and then luckily I got offered a full-time role off the back of it. So as an analyst / opposition scout, I'll be watching games of the opposition we're playing against, looking at their strengths and weaknesses, trends, key players, putting it into a presentation, a video presentation to show the players and the coaching staff where they make decisions on tactics, how they're going to play. So they got an idea what the team's going to be like, the opposition is going to be like, and our players can see what they're doing and what to expect. And also on the analysis side as well, we analyse our own performance. So every player will be analysed on each touch they have on the ball, each event they have on the ball, looking at the strengths and weaknesses, where they could have done better, what they did good at. So it's a coaching / learning tool for the players to develop. The club has supported me drastically. They've, once I told them about my epilepsy, they were fine with it. They didn't look at me any other way, and they put into place a care plan. So if I do have a seizure and I'll be at work, they will a safe place first of all, because I've got physio and medical staff here to watch me over. They've got a plan where I have 2 days off, and I'll get checked over by the medical staff. They'll check in on me as well, make sure I'm okay, and I'll come back into work, have a meeting with my boss, seen by the club doctor, just to make sure everything is okay for me to be back into work. I'm well looked after, I have to say, and they're very supportive because they know what I'm capable of work-wise, and they don't look at epilepsy as a barrier to what I can do. They know I can work and understand I've got epilepsy, and they're working with me and my epilepsy to make me feel safe and be happy at work.
Well, I think we can all agree what an inspiring individual Dan is. So thanks to Dan for sharing his story. Derek, a word from you on the men's team going forward in the next few weeks. Big few weeks, isn't it? Because I think all of us, with the recent results, it almost feels like we're edging towards mid-table, but the reality is we're still very much in the mire, in that cluster of teams, in the thick of a relegation battle.
No, absolutely, Emma. Still in the, still down the bottom half of the table. So the momentum they've built up and the confidence, they've got to keep that going, but they've got to guard against complacency. And that's where Nigel Pearson and Craig Shakespeare will be doing their work, making sure that we stay humble, we stick to what's been getting results. I think the good thing is from the season is, if you look at it in a positive way, the players will know why they weren't getting results earlier on in the season. Now they know how to get results. So as long as they stick to the levels that they've set themselves standards now, and they've got to stick to them standards. And hopefully they could get the job done. What I say the job done is make sure we're safe in the Premier League as quick as possible. So just play on the momentum and the confidence that they've got now.
Well, we are out of time, I'm afraid, for this month. Helen and Derek, thanks very much for joining us. Derek and I have got an appointment down the Indoor Bowl Centre for a rematch, so we're off there shortly.
And we look forward to hearing about that in a few weeks' time. Our thanks goes to all the crew at Bucks New University who put this show together and worked so hard on it.
And thanks for you for watching. As always, we'll see you again next time.